But you know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, before this whole thing broke out, but we knew that Gaddafi was being demonstrated against, I introduced a resolution, and it was a sense of Congress resolution to try to call attention to this. The resolution simply said, if they would have brought it to the floor, it simply said that the President, Mr. President, you don't need to impose a no-flight zone over Libya without coming to the Congress to get the permission. That's all it said. Of course, nobody paid any attention to that. And did he come? Did he take my advice? No, but I wasn't all that surprised that he didn't take my advice either. But he did get his authority. He went to the United Nations to get his authority. The United Nations said it was okay. Now there'd be one little piece of legislation, if I could get it passed, and maybe someday it will, we wouldn't have to worry about that, and that would be just to get us out of the United Nations. Yeah. Rather quickly after the United Nations was formed, my main Truman took us to war. It was under a UN resolution, and that war hasn't even ended. We still have our troops in Korea. I think it's time we come home from Korea. Yeah. And while we're at it, we might as well bring them home from Japan and Germany, along with bringing them home from the Middle East. The troops will come home, but it's going to be under different circumstances because I'm not going to win this debate, and I understand this. But we'll win this argument if you support this position because we're going to run out of money, and that's going to be very, very dangerous because under those circumstances, we don't know exactly what kind of government we will have, and that will be the challenge. But we need to change our attitudes. We need to change our attitudes about the welfare state. We need to change our attitude about the warfare state. And we need to change our attitude about allowing our federal government to undermine our personal liberties and our personal lives. There's been a healthy move on for the reviving of the issue of nullification. I consider that very healthy. Not only should the states have a right to nullify unconstitutional laws passed by the federal government, we could start, and one thing that has brought this to our attention has been the Obamacare. So we could start by nullifying Obamacare. This is becoming more appropriate and people are thinking this way is because for so long everybody thought, well, the federal government's going to take care of me from cradle to grave and it will never be a problem. But they're starting to realize it's not that way anymore. We don't know how long all the gravy is going to last. So they're much more cautious about it and they don't trust it. And now they're challenging it. But we should have a system where the states have more to say. It was intended that individuals had sovereignty, local communities did, and most of the states. But the federal government was not meant to run the lives of the states and run the states or run the lives of us as individuals. So, how have we ever got involved in allowing the government to decide what we should eat and drink and smoke and everything else? I don't know how that happened, but it's about time the American people should say that our personal activities should be treated like we treat our First Amendment. We legalize, and generally we understand the legalization of the First Amendment says that you can speak out on issues, and the purpose of the amendment is to protect controversial speech. So true liberty means that the federal government should protect controversial personal activity as long as you don't hurt people, and the government should stay out of our lives.
Yes.
You know, if that were the case, just think. The federal government couldn't have any regulations on drinking raw milk. And also it would mean that the people of this country could grow this very, very dangerous product called hemp.
Yeah! Yeah!
We can't even get people to pay attention. We're not even talking about marijuana. All we're talking about is commercial hemp to make rope, and it's illegal in this country.
Thank you!
Not only that is, they work these programs for energy. Oh, we got to be energy independent. So we can't build nuclear power plants. We can't do this, and we got to send troops to protect our oil. And we're going to subsidize ethanol and raise corn and push up prices and do all these things. And then it never dawns on them that there's probably more ethanol in hemp than there is in corn, and they make it illegal.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God.
Well, there is some good news, and the good news is that the country's waking up and there will be a change and we're going to have an opportunity. The bad news is it's still a mess in Washington. The Tea Party movement has been helpful, but there's no true revolution in Washington. But I sense there's a true revolution going on in grassroots America.
Yeah!
So we have to have a better understanding and more confidence in ourselves and in the principles of liberty. That's one thing I believe the founders understood. They did not set up a welfare state. They did not set up a funny money system. They believed that only gold and silver were legal tender. They didn't encourage it, they discouraged it. They didn't give us the authority to police the world. And we virtually have lost that. We have good traditions. We have good traditions about property ownership. But do we really follow them? I mean, we don't have property ownership. You know, not too long ago, I went to build a house in a little town in Lake Jackson, Texas, and you'd be surprised. No, I don't think you'd be surprised. I had to check with the federal government for about 15 regulations on how high the house should be and what kind of lumber I was going to use and everything else.